More people that don't believe in you and the 49ers. NFL.com. It's not that they didn't believe in the Niners. They're just setting the bar really high. And I wonder who is setting the bar high. Is it Jed? Is it Parag? Is it the entire front office? They want you to know that the expectations are through the roof and Kyle better deliver. Well, CBS is over here saying, not so fast. The Niners have the most overrated team in the NFL. Here's what they say. Okay, if everything goes right for the 49ers in 2021, they could easily win the Super Bowl. That said, when does every piece perfectly falling into place happen for any NFL team? The Niners are currently tied for the fourth best odds to win the Super Bowl and are tied for the second best odds to win the NFC. That's wild. And then they go on to point out, like, they don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. That's a pretty good point. When you look at it that way, just the betting odds, how much of the public has faith in this team? Do you agree that they're the most overrated team in the NFL?
Well, the first part of it, before answering your question, is CBS is also the organization that was pretty harsh on the 49ers roster as a whole, if you remember, right?
Yeah, that's the more important point. It's just another major news organization sniping, taking a shot.
Yeah, they'd come out, but I can understand where you're saying that the 49ers are overrated. You don't know who your quarterback is going to be. Is it going to be Garoppolo? Is it going to be Lance? You keep playing this chess, whatever you want to call it, with that decision. Yeah. You've got a secondary that's pretty good if they stay healthy, but when is Jason Verrett's never played a full season in his career, and he's never played back-to-back full seasons, close to full seasons in his career. I like what Jaquowski Tart brings to the table at strong safety, but he's played about as many games as Jimmy Garoppolo in the last 4 years. So.
The three most important players in the team, other than quarterbacks, arguably are Jason Verrett, George Kittle, Nick Bosa. Who knows what you're going to get from those three guys this year?
Sure, yeah, and Nick Bosa, as I understand, he was the NFL, Rookie of the Year in 2019. He only had 9 sacks at the end of the day. He had 9 sacks.
Yep.
And so to expect him to come off of the knee injury and come out and be at 10, 11, 12 sacks, that doesn't make sense to me. You're hoping that he returns to the guy that made 9 sacks is I think what the expectation should be for Bosa.
Also with Kittle, his injury last year was freaky. He was running, he broke his foot, missed half the year. What was that? How do you avoid that? How do you say that that's not going to happen again? We don't really talk about that very much. George Kittle needs to be on the field for his blocking alone.
Yep, and that's the other injury. That's the one guy who has kind of skated by with his injury issues over the last couple of years, right? He did miss a lot of time last year. He had Kittle had that injury week 1 with the high throw by Garoppolo that took him out. I know he played a little bit more in the rest of that game, but he was out for a few weeks after that. And then he had the injury against the Seahawks up in Seattle when he went up to make the catch along the sidelines on that high throw on the throw by Bollins. So, yeah, he's a guy who has not shown that he can be healthy throughout the whole season. So, their best players, when you look at the 49ers' best players, they all have injury concerns.
Debo, Ayuk too, Mostert. I mean, geez, yeah.
Yeah, it's across the board, and so I can understand why they might say that the 49ers are a little overrated. I think the 49ers have a pretty good team. If they're healthy, they're good. I think they have a really good team. But like CBS said, the likelihood that they're going to stay healthy all season, just that's not likely.
Well, again, if they didn't have Trey Lance and their quarterback was Jimmy Garoppolo, I would be saying this is a team that's going to miss the playoffs. He's going to get hurt. They're going to miss the playoffs. Kyle's going to get fired. But they have Trey Lance. And I really like Trey Lance. And I think that if he starts, they could actually win 12 games. He could actually protect himself. He doesn't have those injury issues. Carson Wentz got injured coming from that school, but he got injured at North Dakota State too. Remember that?
Yes, he did.
He missed the second part of his final season, some broken bone. So that hasn't been part of Trey Lance's history. Maybe he can stay healthy in way like Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't. And if he does, then the Niners, even with the revolving door at other positions, could be a winning team.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what we saw in 2019, right? We saw injuries at other positions,
big time, but
they always had, but they were able to kind of. It wasn't like they had a lot of them at one time. They were kind of spread out throughout the season.
That's true.
Their quarterback was healthy throughout, and they also had some of those injuries in the first half, and that first half of 2019 was really soft, especially as the season started rolling. It didn't look like it was going to be soft when the schedule came out, but then you have the Courtney Roethlisberger go down at Pittsburgh, and just the way everything kind of broke for the Flyers in the first half of 2019 was perfect for them. It allowed them to get off to a fast start, and they kind of limped their way through the second half of the season. If you remember, they were only 5-3 in the second half once they started playing the better teams.
Got a bonus question here from fellow All 49ers writer Waruna Pereira. He says, how have the Niners lost 14 of 17 games against the Seahawks the last 8 years? I have a theory. You want to hear it? It's two words.
Yeah, I think I know what it is.
Russell Wilson. I think that's a big thing. And that's why I think Trey Lance is so exciting, is because to really contend with this team in Seattle, you got to have something similar to that up there. That's why Colin Kaepernick was exciting. That's why Trey Lance is exciting. Jimmy Garoppolo is decent, but it's not enough. And he beat him once. Good for Jimmy. Beat him once.
Yeah, he beat him once. He beat him the one. He beat him once. No, he beat him once. The only win that he had was the game up in Seattle at the end of 2019.
That's true.
The win that you're thinking. I think the win you're thinking about in 2018 was Mullins that beat him at home on the kickoff return.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think when you look at the 49ers and Seattle, 49ers just made too many.
Ever beat them?
He did. He beat them in 2012.
Shows what I know.
The second game. It was 2012 or 2013, whatever. 2013. They played them at Candlestick at the end of 2013, and they beat them there.
There you go. Thanks for setting the record straight. All right, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, but that's it's not a problem. I just think that what happens, the reason is Russell Wilson and the way that the way that the Seahawks play football is that they force you to be consistent on offense.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to drive the ball down the field on them. They kind of play soft. They don't let you really make big plays against them. You've got to make play after play after play.
True.
Teams can't. They just wait until you make the mistake.
Right, because less practice time the last 10 years, just less precise offenses. So they just play the percentages, don't give them the big play, make them kind of grind it out. And that's why they had trouble against the Patriots, because that's what Tom Brady can freaking do. Yeah,
exactly. And that's partly why when they played the 49ers, when Harbaugh was here, those games were always tight. Yeah. And they had a little bit of success against them because that's the way the 49ers were playing at that point too. They were both very similar teams in the way they approached the game.
Niners' problem back then was third down.
Sure.
Their quarterback wasn't quite good enough to convert third downs at a high rate. And I guess that's Jimmy Garoppolo's thing, or it was, but his problem is turnovers.
It was. I mean, he was absolutely awful this year. When he played up there.
God.
This year, that game was really bad.
It was really alarming how bad he played in that game, and then how well Nick Mullins played for that quarter. I mean, just showed you that it wasn't like, a great defense he was facing. That was back when Seattle had like the worst defense in the league. It improved. They got Carlos Dunlap, Jamal. I don't think Jamal Adams played in that game, did he? I don't know. I've been wrong about everything so far.
I'm not sure, but I mean, you're right in that they showed. I mean, shoot, look what happened when the 49ers went and they played against Seattle in the last game of the season, or second to last, whatever it was. I mean, they were right with them the whole game with freaking CJ Beathard as their quarterback.
That's true. That's true.